all of the market is starting to show us one thing, and that's clear whether that's from silver, gold, or you move into Bitcoin, Ether, any side of crypto, looking even at XRP, signs are clearly visible. We should not be ignoring these because whether that's on the technical side or on the fundamentals or the news, the current affairs, wherever you go, whatever you're looking at, it's becoming super bullish. If you do look at the price action in right way, you're watching assets starting to do 10, 15, 20% move, and it kind of shows you this is 25% over the week and just 14% for the month. That means it's just starting. And it's already up 150% for the year. Macro trend is up, micro it dropped, and now it's starting to bounce off. So whether it is on one aisle of the market or the other, you get to see that clearly. Just it's up to you how you can use that for your benefit. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Remember, we've been following up with the gold, silver, all of these from a long time. Even just 2 days back, I was saying, after 11 years, it's about to break through this range. And if it does, that means something is happening. And just a month back, I talked about this. Silver is about to go catch up with gold. Now, if you do look at the current status, you will see silver is up like 6% for the day, when gold is up 1.5% for the day. So it is doing that catch up, and this is something very positive. This is not just about crypto, not just about commodities. It's primarily about your fiat currencies. If you have fiat currencies and you are heavy in your savings account, this is the time for you to think. Now, if you are in crypto and you're heavy in crypto, this is a time where you should prepare thought process about what you're going to do, how you're going to execute your exits. One, two, what you're going to do with that money. Now, it can feel like, okay, this is too early for that. But understand one thing. Bitcoin has been trending higher, and increased momentum, then fade back to the original trend line, increased momentum, and you reach a top some point. This is where the altcoins will start moving. This is also visible when you zoom into Ether. There is a little bit of difference which you should note. One, in last few videos, we argued a position that the price should close above this moving average on a 3-day, which would signify that the break on the daily is valid. So now your daily is showing you moving average should go up because the price is above the moving average. The same point is happening on the 3-day. So what's next? That's already in place. The weekly is still above the moving average and it's bouncing off like crazy. Remember, this is Friday here in Canada, which means you're already watching the Saturday movement in Asia. Fine. You only have around 24 hours to see where this weekly candle is about to close. If it can close anywhere above 64,500, meaning it can still drop, I'm still okay from 67. If it still comes down to 64,500, that's cool because you are literally bouncing off. Now, if it does break this range, zoom in, you have a wick long high here. And if you break that range, to be precise, that is 67,138. So if you see Bitcoin trading above 67,150, imagine that's now about this range. Next one comes in close to 70. That's something to think about because when you move on to a monthly chart, to put this price action in, what you would be thinking about is this clearly. Okay, if I can manage to reach that 70, that says a lot. The bearish candle which you had, now you're trying to erase that. Fine. You need to also look at the volume to ask yourself, does that make sense? So you had a little bit of selling volume which engulfed the previous high buying volume. So the month of April showed you, whoa, slow down, guys. Bears are entering. So as of now, 17th of this month, you're watching, you have way lesser buying volume, but you're already in that equal stage. Volume to price action, it's matching up. That's positive. That's pure price action. Now, take this into the Ether side of things. You can zoom in a little bit, say go on a daily. This is what you're watching. The price is inside a pattern. Let's remove all this. I was analyzing this before for the SI family. So now when you come back on this, you are able to see something. The trend line, which is acting as a resistance, is still valid. So your primary direction is still valid. Inside that, you have a micro which you're breaking through. But in Ether, the upside in between that is small. So you go on to Bitcoin side of things, you put in the same horizon, say take a daily. And what you see here, or at least what you notice here, is that these highs, you're going to meet one another almost at the same time. But the break was here with the moving average. So that means Bitcoin is still leading the game. At one point, you'll see the money shifting into the alts for sure. But as of now, this guy is still demanding attention from investors, which is one of the reasons why you're watching this. Meaning they're the big guys, the investors in hundreds of millions, they're talking about Bitcoin going better than gold. So even gold is going up now, which means Bitcoin should go way higher than gold. Now remember, in gold, you have price history for like hundreds of thousands of years. So you can just zoom out and you look at last 100 years and you'll see, whoa. That means they're never going to stop printing money. And this is what happens when they print money. Yes, it is going to be volatile, but over a long span, this goes up. The best part is, before it goes up, you actually see a drop in price and a slow recovery, then acceleration. Where are we now? That's interesting, right? Which means there is something wrong with the fiat system. We all know that, but it's about to break. We are closing to a breaking zone. Gold on a quarterly chart showing you this breakout signifies what I just highlighted. That means this is going higher, your fiat is going lower, and if gold is low volatile asset and crypto is high volatile asset, what do you think is going to happen here? Right? Crypto is about to take off. Now, say you don't really believe that crypto can do anything. Fine, that's up to you. That's your choice. But if you are someone who would look at the evidence, like an evidence-based study, you go back, you zoom out, you want to look at the price history, the entire price, and how investors reacted to this asset, you now make logical decisions rather than emotional ones. Now, take everything we just talked about, Bitcoin, Ether, and others, and come to XRP. Now, we need to be logical here. We just don't have to be the fanboy, but we also have to use the brains. Even though I'm heavy on this asset, I'm highlighting what I can see here. Okay, the moving average on a daily, on a weekly, is still pointing you to the downside. Not good. You need to go above that. Bitcoin is above that. There is a big difference. You want to look at Ether, you pull that into a weekly chart and look at this. It is bouncing off above it. So there is a difference. The level of bullishness which you get when you bounce off from the moving average is super high. And the pattern itself, whether we like Ether or not, the pattern itself shows you something. Bull flag. Now, on a 3-day chart, we're entering this and saying, whoa, 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 this guy is also going down. When will you go up, man? Right? That's the argument. But we know at one point it bounces off and it's not giving up this level of support. That's a positive thing. Someone is ready and willing to buy whenever this guy comes below that level, which is fine, which is great. Now, you zoom in on a daily. We want to see whether that shift is happening. Yes, it is. I'm like, that's something positive, man. At least this guy is starting to try or attempt to break through this range. Now, we're at the verge of it. A 3 to 5% move. Say, if the price of XRP moves about 0.55, I would say, okay, that's a little bit of relief. You're breaking through a pattern which has been a resistance. You are getting a macro bullshit cup and handle. But it's taking a long time, man. The patience eventually tears out, wears out. Yeah, we're all human beings. But the judgment or the execution, whether you're going to buy or sell, should be based on real data points, not emotions. That gives you the edge in the market. Whether it takes 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, it's a different story. That's one of the reasons why we are in multiple assets. If you see this guy's low, 5x, 10x and done, you're watching some others taking off 30, 40, 50x. So you need to have some of those in your portfolio. If not, that's an alarm for you right now. Fine? Now, you go here, zoomed out, which is like a monthly chart. And here you can argue with XRP, come on guys, the trend is to the upside. Yes, short term doesn't look good. The weekly, the 3-day, it's all kind of showing the trend is to the downside. But the monthly is showing you, no, I'm turning back up. So now you go back to the monthly. And you want to see where Bitcoin was doing that. This is that phase. Say, you're like, okay, I want to see what happened before. This is that phase. You go back again. This is that phase where your monthly turn. So the Bitcoin, the Ether, they are here in the all-time highs, and Bitcoin terms, Ether getting close to that. But XRP is still here. It has a long way to go. That's one of the reasons why if you're trading, you need to make sure the momentum is on your side. What do I mean? If it's a monthly chart and you are just a spot rider, put that into a monthly Keikinashi. Until it's green, you're riding. The monthly close is what the decision factor means. Now, if you are a weekly rider, put that onto a weekly, and the weekly says, whoa, 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 if I'm about to close this week in green, keep this in mind. In green, this is important. Don't miss this. If you go back and see, after a correction, whenever it turns into green below the moving average, after what's the average correction? 21. After the average correction, when you form a green candle closed on a weekly, that gives you 90% odds that this guy is going to go up. How high? Who knows? But it can go up. Whether that's 75, 95, 100, we'll have to see how the volume comes in, right? But right now, one thing is sure, it's forming something like this. What happens afterwards is clear. Great. Now you zoom in on a 3-day. What are you watching? The volume is increasing. The price action is bullish. What else do you need? So the argument here is, after you drop and then break back above the 3-day moving average, what do you see? I mean, the history should be our teacher, especially in the recent past. One of the reasons why I say that is whales who were there 5 years, 8 years, 10 years back are now selling, because the price which they bought and the current price is astronomical. There's a huge difference. They are in heavy profits. But those who will buy more and more and more will be the guys who've been buying here during this period of time. So the recent past will give you higher activity in the market, which you should be focused on. So if Bitcoin continues higher, definitely the crypto market continues higher. But entire crypto market is still $2.5 trillion, guys. Gold is like 15 trillion. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. But crypto is catching up with gold very faster. That means if whatever we discuss right now is true and the fiat is collapsing, whoa, there is something wrong. Crypto is about to take off along with the gold, silver, all the commodities. I think even copper is going up. So you need to understand the macro and then put this into the right picture. Say you don't like volatility. Put this on a weekly, man. I mean, just move on to a weekly, just put a Heikin-Ashi, follow it. Now, if you're not that guy, okay, use a 3-day chart, use a Ranko chart. When the Ranko shows you I'm going up, yeah, you go up. This is price sensitive, not time sensitive. So if you're someone having hardship with patience, don't look at this. But if you are cool with that, this should be your guide. You put this one on and you look at this. When it turns green, you just buy. Now sit and wait. It goes up, goes up, goes up. So that's a turn from 27,000. If you bought this asset, that candle changed and closed in green here. So you literally wait. Now you missed the 74 for sure, but you bought from 27 and you sold at 60. That's 100% plus gain with higher odds on your side, right? So this is another thing which you can use even on a daily. That's completely fine on a free version, right? Whenever there is a correction and you go up on a trend, the next leg up is important. Is the momentum reducing? If it is, that means you're forming a top. If it's not, you're going into bubble territory. Your fiat is collapsing. Something is happening. If you watched what's happening in the macro market, you will be surprised. I mean, China is dumping the biggest chunks of US treasuries in the history. Who's going to buy back these at this time? When they are all watching, the GDP is here, the debt is here, what should I do with these, right? So they would be interested in other stuff. Gold is better, and that's why I would say, now this can be like just speculation from my end, but listen to this carefully and think about it and say, if you believe that's nuts, crazy, or that's some realistic points. Central banks own majority of gold. Great, perfect. Gold is going up, good. But what if this lady here is right and Bitcoin is going up than gold? Now, central bankers are being kicked out by newer financial institutions like the MicroStrategy and the ETFs who hold it, retailers who buy it are making way more in return than the central banks. Do they like it? No. Are they going to buy and hold it? Not the US I'm talking about. Others, the emerging market currencies. We have few governments buying in crypto, Bitcoin to be precise, right? What if a lot more countries start to do that? Whoa, at that point, yeah, there is something big happening and something very wrong in the economy. You will see the prices go nuts, right? But yeah, that's just a speculation. You cannot see that right now in the price action. And end of the day, what matters is what the market tells you. That's why we say, understand the land of this candlestick. Understand the language of the candlesticks. That gives you the edge in the market. When we were giving you this idea a month back, this is what we followed. When we were talking about this in gold, this is what we followed. You look at the opportunity, say is it RX. Think about it. When it was showing it's going to go to the upside, I told you it's going to go to the upside. When it reached the upside, I told you it's going to come back down to this point. When it reached that downside, I told you it's going to bounce off. Now look, it's starting to bounce off. So there is an understanding of the language of technical analysis. And if you want that, Scientific Investor Family is going to the best place at this point of time to be well educated at the most highest possible way. You can join using the link in the description below in YouTube or in the bio and Twitter. So guys, if you received value and you haven't smashed that like button yet, please go on, obliterate that for me. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.